Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I've been waiting on doing this video for a while. This is going to be my 2025 tournament schedule announcement video for next year. And obviously the big one, the big announcement for next year, and I'm sure some of you have seen it on Instagram and Facebook, is that I will be fishing the 2025 Bassmaster Opens as a boater for Division 1. So I'm going to go into kind of the reasons why I went with Division 1 versus Division 2, and then I'm going to go into more of the other tournaments that I plan on fishing for next year on the more local side. So just start off, obviously Bassmaster Opens, a step below the Elite Series. I'm really taking a huge step up in doing those next year to try to chase this crazy dream of bass fishing professionally, and just seeing how far I've come, where am I at, and just to learn again, but obviously to compete at the highest level that I can get into. So I'm really looking forward to that. It is a huge step up in competition and travel and expenses and whatnot, but I feel like there's no time like the present to hop in and see what we can do and try to compete. So Division 1 is there's 4 tournaments. So the first one is in Clarks Hill in Georgia in mid-January, so that's coming up very quickly. I'm really trying to get the boat rigged and get everything ready so that I'm not stressed a couple weeks prior and can just go down there and fish. The second one is on the Tombigbee River in Mississippi in April, and then we have back-to-back tournaments, back-to-back weeks. The first one in late July, the first one being on the Chesapeake Bay in Maryland, and finishing up at the St. Lawrence River up in New York. And the reason why I picked this division specifically was there were a lot of smaller reasons, like it fit better with my personal schedule, whether it was weddings or anything else that could conflict. But the two big reasons was that I'm originally from Philadelphia, for those of you who don't know, and the Chesapeake tournament is only an hour 15 from the house where I grew up in, so my dad's house. And the last tournament of the year on the St. Lawrence, I kind of grew up bass fishing on the St. Lawrence with my uncle. He has a house in Clayton, New York, and I would go up there once or twice a summer and go fishing. So I know the river. I'm familiar with the river. I shouldn't say I know it, but I'm familiar with the river, I'm familiar with the area, and it's probably the best smallmouth fishery in the world. So I couldn't pass up that opportunity to go fish close to home, where I can have family attend the tournaments, especially at this level. It will mean a lot to me to have them there and their support, as I'm from Philadelphia and I moved out here to Chicago, and don't really have family close by. So that's one big reason, but the other big reason is that I feel like with my very limited skill set and knowledge and experience, that Division 1 sets up better for my strong suits. I will not lie, Clarks Hill, the very first one, is going to be the biggest unknown for me. I've never fished south of Philadelphia before, so going down to Georgia in January on a reservoir that is set up very differently than anything else I've fished before, especially with spotted bass too. I've never caught a spotted bass. That's the one that makes me a little nervous. It's definitely going to be forward-facing heavy. I'm probably going to be before the pre-spawn, so a little bit more wintertime fishing. So that one is that one's one of the ones I'm a little concerned about. But other than that, though, the other 3 I feel like set up well for me to do as best as I can. The Tombigbee River is, it's a river system. It looks, at least on paper, very similar to La Crosse, Wisconsin, on the Mississippi River, which I have done very well there the 2 times that I've been there. So I feel like there can be some similarities, and I can kind of get on a pattern there. And it's also in April, so right around that pre-spawn time and spawn time where I feel most comfortable. And then the last 2, Chesapeake. It is a tidal fishery, but I feel like that can be, you can do well power fishing up shallow, not necessarily scoping the whole time, fishing docks, fishing the tide is something I'll have to learn, but it's in Maryland, it's close to home in Philadelphia. There's going to be a lot of things that I've probably kind of seen before. And then the St. Lawrence smallmouth, I fish a lot of smallmouth up here. I've also fished on the St. Lawrence for smallmouth before, so I already kind of have a feel for what I need to do in that tournament to stay competitive. So those are the main reasons why I did Division 1 versus Division 2. Division 2, they're Great Lakes, but I think most of them are actually just going to be purely dominated on scope, and that is not a strong suit of mine. And so I kind of eased away from that a little bit more. But of course, Division 1, I'm sure most of the winners will, scope will play heavy too, but I think there's more opportunities to do well without that being the dominant focus. So that is going to be, that's the big announcement, the thing that's going to take up most of my time next year, 2025. I'm very excited to get those videos out and compete on the Opens next year. Besides that, also on more of the Bassmaster side of things, I will also be doing a national qualifier again, like I did last year on La Crosse, Wisconsin. Because of the open schedule and the way things set up, I will be doing the first national qualifier in March down at Pickwick Lake in Alabama. So another lake, TVA Lake, river system lake that is a little unfamiliar with me. But I'm excited to go down there, learn, and try to compete and get in that top 20 this year and not miss it by 2 ounces. And hopefully make the national championship, which will be on La Crosse, the Mississippi River, in October. And I feel like if I can get into that national championship, I feel like I can do really well. As I've mentioned before, I've had 2 very good finishes there last year in Bassmaster events. So I would love to get back to La Crosse and fish the national championship there. So that would be an amazing opportunity. Besides the Bassmaster stuff, more on the local side of things, from the Cass Nation Club, Bass Nation Club that I fished last year, I will be fishing that one again, but I qualified for the Wisconsin Bass Nation Classic, so that's a standalone tournament that will most likely happen in April. Hopefully it aligns with my schedule, with the Opens, with the Tombigbee River being in April. That'll be a big standalone tournament for me if the winner of that goes straight to Nationals, so that would be a huge opportunity there for me to go and fish the national championship through that. Besides that, I'll be fishing the Wisconsin Bass Nation State Championship again, just like I did in Sturgeon Bay this past year. And then on the really more local side, in terms of the circuits, I will be fishing the CalSag Bass Anglers and Big Lake Bass Anglers tournament circuit down in Chicago again this year. Just looking at the schedule, I already know I'm not going to be able to make all 5 events for each division, so kind of competing for that Angler of the Year is going to be kind of out the window, but the goals for those will remain the same to try to win an event and try to get enough points to qualify for the championship, the battle for the belt for each division there. And that will be, those are the tournaments that I 100% know I will be doing for next year. I know I fished State Line last year, which was a local single circuit up here in northern Illinois and southern Wisconsin. That one will again depend on the schedule. The Opens is going to take up a lot of my time. And I am committed to fishing those CalSag Big Lakes. I really enjoy them. I really learn a lot, and the guys are phenomenal, and I always learn something every time I'm down there. So I really enjoy those. So we will see if I end up doing State Line. Right now it's not confirmed just because the schedule for that has not come out yet. And then I'm sure there will be some other one-off tournaments like the Wisconsin Whitewater up in Big Green. I'll probably end up fishing that one again. Maybe even go back up to the Wolf River and fish that open, that team open. That was a lot of fun, and I really like that fishery. So there'll probably be some other ones here and there that I hop into, but those will be the main ones. It'll be Bassmaster Opens Division 1, Bass Nation Qualifier at Pickwick in Alabama, Wisconsin Bass Nation Classic, which date TBD, location TBD, Wisconsin State Championship, Cass Nation Club, and CalSag and Big Lake Bass Anglers Circuit. So it's going to be a huge year. Overall, it's probably going to be less tournaments than last year, and that's kind of done by design so that I can sort of take more weekends to just go out on lakes and practice, get better at techniques, and not just be running around all the time, constantly fishing a tournament. Actually spend more time practicing, honing my skills, and trying to actually compete and do a little bit better in these tournaments next year versus just trying to get as good as possible, which I think really worked out for me last year. It was just constantly fishing, constantly being in competition, and just going to a bunch of different bodies of water. So So that's it. That's going to be my 2025 tournament season and schedule. Really looking forward to it, and I can't wait for it to start in less than 2 months at Clarks Hill. So thank you all for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.